0-0-0-4. This is how close FaZe was to be eliminated from the major, and versus Fluxo, their major campaign was looking to end. After being down 4-10 on map 3, it was do or die. In this match, we saw how FaZe abused small mistakes from Fluxo, as well as always winning ramp control, as this is how FaZe is reinventing themselves. Welcome to how FaZe salvaged their major run. It's 4-10, and for FaZe, this buy might be their last, as they're buying down to their last pennies, meaning if they were to lose round 15, they would be down 11-4, not able to rebuy into a full buy, meaning they give Fluxo the 12-4 lead. So this buy might be the most important buy FaZe will have for the whole major. And the buy isn't the greatest from FaZe, as Kerrigan is stuck on a FAMAS while Brokey has no utility to pair with his AWP. While Fluxo, it's all about building a bank, to make sure if FaZe were to start comebacking, they will be able to keep on buying. But Fluxo's buy is quite similar to FaZe, even worse as they have 3 Galeels and low utility on the AWP. And this is a buy that will keep on tormenting Fluxo for some time, as they could have gotten at least one more AK, but they've opted to build a bank instead of buying better guns. Time comes down to 0, and here we can see both teams activate their game plan to make sure they can win the round. Fluxo starts in a 1-4 setup, as they're leaning heavy towards A, but will pair this up by using 2 smokes in middle, and then sending their AWPer to be the solo player towards B. So what is the goal of all of this? Well, the smokes has been thrown to make sure FaZe will be watching middle to thin out the A defense, while the solo AWP on B is just there to kill any players from FaZe jump spotting from car. As if Fluxo were to push out on A site, it's very common that the solo B player will be doing a jump spot to make sure apps is cleared before leaving site, and that is what the AWP is here to abuse. Another key detail in this setup is how Fluxo lets the bomb go solo towards ramp early. As FaZe likes to smoke or molotov ramp, it makes ramp this wall that FaZe can't get any information from, as FaZe can easily peek palace and spot the players. But before we keep going in the breakdown, I have to tell you all about the sponsor of today's content, XPlay, who are the sponsor of the Star Ladder Major as well. I've been using XPlay for years to warm up, just look at my older streams. XPlay got over 28 server region, and it takes 3 clicks to create a lobby for you and your friends. No queue and no waiting. And the settings, it's like a playground. You can tweak everything. Knife rounds, B-hop, whatever you want. As well, to troll your friends, you can add some fun settings to your server, like playing a 5 vs 1 with the solo player having wallhack or invincibility mode. And after a match on the servers of XPlay, you will automatically get clips of your best highlights. And to top it all off, they have a free skin changer, and it's amazing to play with skins I will never be able to play with. Best part of this, everything I've shown you guys is completely free and so smooth, so no wonder they are the leading Europe network of servers. So thanks to XPlay for sponsoring the content. And that is why Fluxo want to have the bomb down there in ramp, so FaZe can't see it, as that would kind of ruin the whole setup with having the AWP in B apps and the mid smokes. FaZe on the other side has a different approach to win this off, as they will start in a 1-3-1 setup, where they've left 3 players in middle with 2 players towards con, as they're making sure if something on A is happening, you can let one player focus palace, and then Frozen will go for this jump here to get into ladder room, as holding middle is useless, as it will keep on being smoked early round. And with low utility, FaZe opts to not challenge the smoke in middle, and rather leave window for now. Then Brokey will be placed alone in CT, holding the ramp smoke, as FaZe threw a smoke and not a molotov towards ramp, as using a molotov is the more common way of doing it. But the smoke allows Brokey to be way longer alone on A site, while FaZe has this heavy mid game plan. Kerrigan is the last piece, as he will be the B anchor, but in a much more reactive role towards B. FaZe game plan with this setup is early mid control, to force Fluxo away and then start to focus side again, a very common way of playing Mirage on the CT side. I said earlier that Kerrigan was playing a more reactive role, as when you are alone on site, you have 2 ways of approaching the hold, and we can see FaZe use both of them. Kerrigan is more reactive, as he will be towards short and can hear the AWP move and scope, allowing him to react to this, as well as if mid were being pushed, he could have gone mid fast to help, as he is able to react. While if he were to play like Brokey is on A site, in a more passive setup, as Brokey is just sitting CT and holding a smoke, his impact will be much lower, and he can't do much until something happens towards him. And this approach of being reactive puts the whole game plan of Fluxo down the toilet, as they wanted a more passive player towards B apps, as that usually means the B anchor will jump spot towards car into apps, and that would be a free kill in the setup. To make sure FaZe can get all of their pieces to the right spots, we will see Brokey use this flash here from site, as if Fluxo has a player with the best spawn in middle, he would have been able to peek Frozen when he goes for the jump. So this flash is a safety flash to make sure Frozen can get into ladder room. As well as in middle, we will see Twist smoke bottom con, then use this flash here to allow himself to walk and get behind this box, and this flash is meant to blind anyone on catwalk that might be holding for this. A great passive flash to set himself up. Fluxo, realizing they can't take too long going for this A execute, as the mid smokes are fading away, want to Molotov top stairs and smoke under stairs to rather have a player from Palace holding the re-aggression towards stair from FaZe. But it misses. How? Let's go over to Sevi, who will drop down like this to make sure FaZe can't hear it. As now on the map, you can see when a sound cue will be heard, and this drop down like this will just not be heard from FaZe. And he lines up this under stairs smoke, and then Molotov. But Counter-Strike is a game of macros, as here the lineup of the Molotov should look like this, and he is throwing it just too high. And look how FaZe abuses this missed Molotov, as Twist can take full on top middle control, while Frozen abuses the fact that there are no smokes in middle. So here FaZe gets a lot of information from one Molotov missing, as FaZe assumes there are a minimum of 3 players towards A, as well as Kerrigan has heard Art underground, meaning Frozen and Twist worst case scenario for the mid peak is that they have to fight one player, making the mid fight's worst case scenario a 2v1 very ideal. Fluxo will as well Molotov underground, but they can't move out yet, as with the stairs not being blocked away, it's a death trap running out of Palace for the T side, and Fluxo has to walk back, as they have a lot of time left, and Art the Opera is still underground listening and holding if FaZe wants to challenge middle or short. And here again we are seeing the macros play into this. As soon as FaZe sees that this was a fake, after Jacob can peek stairs and see that nobody is out, FaZe wants to take middle, and this fight almost happens could have changed the outcome of this whole match, as Twist goes to clear underground, just where Art is holding, to make sure FaZe can't win control of it. But at the last second, Art moved away. He was perfectly holding for an overpeak from FaZe, and FaZe can call underground is cleared. The reason for Art moving away is when Fluxo now is going back from A to B, Art has to be the one to hold and make sure it's clear for the rest of them to take B-App's control. The information from both teams are scattered, as the calls are not 100% correct. FaZe has now won middle and can call underground is clear, and look how this call makes Jacob instantly leave middle and go to A and hold, while Kerrigan, after hearing lower is cleared, goes more passive towards B site. While for Fluxo, their information is as well that underground is cleared, and here we will see Art go for the slow clear towards apps to make sure his team has the option to go for a B take. At the minute mark, FaZe starts to understand that mid is not where Fluxo will end for now, and here we will see the mid players scattered out, with Frozen going over to B site while Twist stays more passive towards Con. Fluxo goes for the execute and FaZe are ready, as with the flashes Fluxo throws, well, they are meant to blind any players looking apps, but FaZe are looking into walls instead, as they are using the flash cues as a way to peek, with Kerrigan taking first contact while Frozen peeking off that, as Frozen will glue his eyes on the minimap to see where Kerrigan is spotting players. Look how perfect it is, with Lukowski holding towards Frozen, but with Kerrigan shooting him, he can't understand where to look and is found. And this 2-man setup from FaZe cleans house, as FaZe plays whack-a-mole, as when they start shooting towards Kerrigan, he will just hide behind the wall and Frozen can peek, and vice versa. The role has now changed, as now it's Fluxo who needs to win the round, as if they lose this round, FaZe gets an 8th round and can easily win, with the T economy not being at the best stage of the match. 10 rounds and tie up the match, something that did not seem possible at all 3 rounds ago. FaZe are starting to build a bank that gives them quite a good safety net to fall back to, as losing this round will allow them to rebuy the next round to not stunt their momentum they are building up right now. Fluxo starts the round in a 3-1-1 setup, as here they will have one player fast into top middle, using utility and making sure FaZe is aware that there is a player in middle. Then send one player to lurk in apps again, and then have 3 players towards A site. Fluxo's game plan is to abuse the fact that FaZe usually have a very heavy mid setup, as they want their mid player to take first contact and force FaZe to stay in middle, while they allow their A players to try and be more aggressive, as if they can force FaZe to keep 3 players in middle, an A take will only be versus a CT player of FaZe. And then their last player, the lurker, will be in apps to clear underground, as he wants to come in as the late rotator that can hear everything on short and middle to try to find a backstab. FaZe on the other side of the match goes for a very interesting setup, as here their goal is to keep A control for the whole round, as they start with 4 players towards A, with Frozen early starting a window, and when smoked off he will line up this Molotov here, and in the smoke he will throw it to Molotov behind the boxes in top middle, while Brokey will then use a smoke bottom con paired with a flash and nade on the con smoke Fluxo throws to get some information towards catwalk. But for a setup like this to work from FaZe, you need to find early map control towards A, as otherwise to be solo on B is very risky, as you have no early information, But FaZe has a plan here. Twist will line up this flash right here, as look at Jacob, he is playing close and uses a nade early to make sure Fluxo can't push up close, as this nade forces Lucausi up on the pot here. Perfect. And here the play is activated. Twist lines up this flash while Jacob wide swings ramp. The reason for this wide swing is that a T will play on the left side most of the times, and if Jacob goes close, Brokey with the AWP can't help him. On the wide swing, Jacob finds a fully blinded T player, as it's impossible to react to this flash, and Brokey with Jacob's wide swing can hold for the trade, and FaZe finds 2 kills off the bat to take this round into their hands. As soon as FaZe takes the lead, well, their play has worked, so now they have to rotate off, and FaZe goes from 4-1 to now a very common 2-1-2, as Jacob falls all the way back to CT, where Frozen goes to B side to help Kerrigan. Fluxo, after losing 2 players, have to try something, as they have some information to play around. They know Jacob was close ramp and Brokey on stairs, as well as one player is somewhere towards here, as the flash came from here. So how do you play around this? Well, you could group to take ramp or palace, or try for a fast B play. But with the economy of Fluxo being so bad right now, it's no point, as here the 3 players opt to save to try and stop the momentum of FaZe Clan for the next rounds. After being down 4-10, FaZe has crawled their way back and it's now a tied game 10-10. And for Fluxo, this round is do or die, as here by losing this round they are basically giving FaZe match point with 2 rounds to spare. While for FaZe, there is nothing to worry about, as the money FaZe has built up by winning a lot of rounds in a row will allow them to keep on buying. FaZe starts very default, so there will not be much of a game plan to break down, other than their A setup. FaZe has for the start of the round given up middle, but to put everybody into use they will have Twist stand here with a nade out in case of a rush, something FaZe thinks will happen, as Fluxo uses no smoke this round early middle, and then both A players will be playing close in a great off angles to abuse how the T has to clear out from ramp and palace. I will get back to that. Fluxo on the other hand, well, they are playing into FaZe, as they will send 4 players towards ramp and 1 in palace. All they want to do here is to have a pop and hope they can plant and play the after plant. FaZe double nade top ramp at 140. Might seem odd, but it has been done, as usually Fluxo around the 140 mark will have a player top ramps. It's a miss this time, but it shows you how much micro information like that can predict an outcome of play. On these nades, Frozen and Jacob will take this very aggressive angle towards ramp, and is rewarded by killing the first player, as when the T peeks ramp, they do it close to the wall, not giving away how and when they peek with their shadow. Something that is very good if FaZe would be here or here, but when FaZe plays this far back, they will spot you before you can see them, as Lucausi was being spotted before he himself even got to peek out. And to make it worse, Decency misses a Molotov that is supposed to land like this, making this A take that much harder for Fluxo. Sevi finds an amazing trade, as he peeks perfect. As FaZe are about to leave, he peeks out so Jacob can't react to it and is found. On this staff, Frozen will not fall back towards CT or site, as this is what Fluxo is expecting from him. But he will rather go to top palace and hold the smoke towards palace that twists through, as Fluxo sees this smoke and thinks Frozen will use it to cross and not be seen by any player's palace. Let's now see how Frozen plays his position. He starts by going close here, as this looks weird, since FaZe's main information is that Fluxo has players in ramp, but it's very unlikely still that Fluxo do not have any players in palace. So by going here, the spam from Kai, that is actually a lineup you can do like this, is missed before Frozen places himself on top of the ladder, when he sees Brokey is about to rotate in to help him. And here it's perfect, as Kai calls that left side of palace is cleared, as he couldn't hear anything when he spammed, while Fluxo from ramp clears the right side to see that it's cleared, as we can see Decency will clear it out. Fluxo does not have a CT smoke up, so they have to go on the right side of site to take it, allowing Frozen and Twist to have this 2-man setup to dismantle Fluxo in such a key round. And let's quickly see how perfect Twist plays it. He will not tunnel vision towards sandwich, as he knows there will be players holding the stairs peak on the walk up like this, as he peeks ramp and then sandwich, a great way to show you how to properly peek something, as you have to think about all angles 24/7. This might be the last round of the video, don't watch the time left. For such a key round, Fluxo pulls out all the stops, as they buy down to almost 0, as they get an AWP out, as well as a lot of utility, while FaZe can full buy, like look at their wins, of course they can buy. Fluxo's game plan is all about winning mid control, something we have not really seen them do for the whole match, that we have broken down, as they usually use middle as a way to fake where they're going, to force FaZe to hold it. But in this round their whole game plan is based around mid control, as they will smoke top middle and window, and send 3 players to take it. And this is what we call conditioning, as FaZe has seen these smokes over and over again without Fluxo using them. FaZe on the other hand goes for a very default 3-1-1 setup, as they want to try to win early ramp control with 2 players pushing close, then twist his back to his utility from jungle shenanigans. Kerrigan alone on B is way more passive in this round, but a change they do is that Brokey, when he is smoked off in window, he will be fast to rotate to short, as with FaZe leaving mid control early, they need their AWPer to be in a much more aggressive position, to kinda even this out. A big play we will see from Fluxo to combat FaZe mid setup is this. Why is Lukowski swinging mid like this? Isn't this unsafe? But every time we have seen FaZe get smoked off in window, they will always go for this Molotov behind the crates in middle. So this peek in front is to make sure he can clear all of middle without being stopped by the Molotov. A great way of reading how FaZe would react. FaZe on the loss of mid control goes for the ramp play, as Twist will nade close ramp from jungle and then have 2 players taking ramp. And here in ramp is the first domino to fall, as Kai, who is holding, starts jiggling. And by jiggling the close corner, when FaZe is further away, well, it's basic geometry, as here Jacob would see him swinging out of the corner before he can see FaZe, even though he saw FaZe before he swung behind the corners. A massive misplay from Fluxo early. On this kill, we will see that FaZe is fast to go back and hold the con walk out, while Brokey on short now holds for the catwalk to short peek. As with FaZe having no mid control, it's no need for them to peek it. All they want to do now is to hold for whenever Fluxo goes for the side play. But Fluxo on this staff has to push out, as now they only have mid control. And here I love what Fluxo does. They are fast to clear this part of short, then uses a boost here to get art into window, and a low twist can't hold for this. And the game is down to 4v4. FaZe are great at using the smoke to force Fluxo to stay in middle, as they can't really walk out of it. And this helps Kerrigan's long rotation from B apps to be way more effective. Fluxo in middle will try to make some plays to not get too stuck and boxed into middle. As here they will have Sevi use this flash to allow Art and Decency to peek out from jungle and Con to clear stairs in this part of sight. But look at FaZe with all of this, how passive they are going, as they know Fluxo has to be the one to push them. So here FaZe puts the brakes on while they wait for the backstab from Kerrigan. Fluxo enters the part of the site take where they have to clear everything. And this can be a scary part for any teams to deal with, as you have to guess and trade perfectly. But these guys are pros, as Frozen gets Molotov and spammed, and Sevi perfectly holds for the trade, and a 4v4 is now a 4v2. But Kerrigan uses all of this chaos to start pushing Con to get behind Fluxo. And as we can see on the minimap, Fluxo has a player on short. So what is happening here? Well, Lukowski has one goal, to make sure short is cleared. And in a 4v2, it's no need for him to hold anything else, and this allows Kerrigan to get to stairs unseen. And I love the confidence from Kerrigan. Knife out pushing the smoke, as why would Fluxo check the smoke with 1 on short and full on A side control? Brokey in the meantime uses some utility towards CT to make sure Fluxo is watching CT and not anything else. Kerrigan finds 2 quick kills and it's a 2v2, and Fluxo is now very split up, and the bomb is not planted for any of them. So here the short player has to go to Con, so FaZe now has the upper hand, all thanks to this push from Kerrigan. Brokey goes for the tap after spotting Lukowski on short, and here Kerrigan calls for him to stick it. As with the plant, neither the short or ramp player can contest it without running past Kerrigan. And let's enjoy how Kerrigan is so fast to get the Con player, and then run to catch the ramp player, who throws the Molotov wrong, and that cost Fluxo the major stage 2 spots. While writing this video, FaZe went 2-0 in stage 2, so maybe the stage 1 issues and awful start was what they needed to start winning? Well, let's see. Thanks for watching, and I have 2 videos you told me you would like. Bye.